We bought a bus!
Megan, we just bought a bus!
We bought a bus! Oh my god!
What's up, everybody? I'm Johnny.
And I'm Reagan. So we bought a bus.
So we bought a bus. I had been looking at buses for a long time. Long time meaning probably a couple months. I'd always toyed around with the idea of doing van life at some point, and then Reagan said, I need a shower and a bathroom. I said,
That was
okay,
my one
that's fair.
condition. I need a toilet.
Yeah. I said, that's fair. So we kind of went with this idea of a mid-sized bus. We had been thinking about it, and then, looking and
Talking to our friends and family more about it. It was something that once we went to Arizona, I think, on vacation, and we were driving around, fell in love with it down there, and saw so many schoolies and vans, and just even seeing the RVs parked out there in the desert was, I think, enough to really get serious about it.
That was definitely a defining moment for us of we've been talking about it already for a while, and then we go on this awesome trip to Sedona. Spend some time with some of our really good friends who moved there, or to Scottsdale area, and we just saw all these people doing it out there, and we're like, this is like a sign. Like, we need to, we got to do it. And so that's when we really started to get more serious, and obviously everybody around us, I think, never really took us that seriously, or it was kind of like, okay,
brushed it off
we'll see.
A little bit.
And so come time that we're gonna jump on this bus pretty quick because we don't want to miss out on this deal and this bus because it's a little bit more limited and there's not very many of them out there. And so all of a sudden we go from we're casually looking at buses and maybe we're gonna get one in the spring to let's go buy a bus tomorrow.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was overwhelming, to say the least, when it was so sudden, we're going tomorrow to look at this bus. And neither one of us, I think we said, could sleep that night.
Yeah.
But waking up and then on the way there, we were getting more and more excited. I was getting more and more excited.
Yeah.
And then once I was there, I was bursting with excitement, as you can tell in the video.
We tried to, contain our excitement a bit because, you still want to have that mindset of it's okay, and for us it was it was only a 3.5 hour drive, so it was okay, worst case scenario, we take a little road trip today and it's Saturday, we didn't really have anything else planned, so it's kind of let's actually go see one.
Yeah, get an idea at least. And
I knew it was a Midwest driven bus, but it had been used by a church for the last 6 years. They said they drove it once a week, and kept it all up to date. It had to be DOT certified, carried their own kids and stuff. Obviously salt comes into the question, and rust and things like that. And getting a rust-free bus would be great. You look in Tennessee or Florida or somewhere like that, but a lot of those are expensive, or you gotta make a bigger trip to get there, and that expense and just taking that risk. Yeah, it's a greater risk, And so we knew there was gonna be some rust, but some rust can be treated. And that's what we plan to do. We'll treat what's there, and that's also why I wanted to have a second opinion. I kind of knew what to look for as far as what's really bad rust, what's okay, or what could be treated. But just having a second opinion was reassuring.
It was a really good idea to get a mechanic to meet us there. Definitely, it made us feel a lot better driving out with it.
Yeah, and I do some work on cars and some of my own work and maintenance on cars, and I kind of knew what I was looking for, and I understand, when people talk about things, what they're talking about, but just to have somebody there, especially with diesel, it's just a different type of engine, and who had the expertise, I would definitely highly recommend, if you're going to go look at a schoolie, just do some research and call around a couple places of, diesel mechanics in the area. That's all I did, because it was Goshen, Indiana. Do I know diesel mechanics in Goshen, Indiana? No. So I just, did some research and kind of saw which ones were highly rated, and, called a couple people, and they were very helpful, and the guy was very helpful and gave us his honest opinion. So we felt pretty good about it, and we felt good about just all the specs of everything. You know, the length is perfect. It's right at 30 feet. And just everything.
Yeah, it was an easy thing to say yes to.
Yeah. I guess I can talk a little bit about the specs of the bus now. You know, all the stuff that Reagan knows a lot about. She's done all the research, and she knows everything. Yeah. It is a International 3400 chassis, and it has a T444E engine and an Allison transmission. I'm not sure which Allison yet, but the transmission was replaced, which is nice, I guess, reassuring that it's at least been replaced once in its life. But I was skeptical about the speed and top speed of it, but being that it's a shuttle bus and not a schoolie, and it's a cutaway cab chassis, a lot of shuttle buses are geared for highway speeds, so we took it on a test drive, made sure it went fast enough, and even on the way home, I mean, it held 65 no problem.
Yeah,
and it
4
was
hours
like
straight, 65 the whole time.
Very comfortable at 65. Obviously, the temperatures were fine because it's winter time. It's sucking in cold air. It's not going to overheat. But yeah, the engine and transmission combination felt great. It may be modded.
Maybe.
I'm a big car guy. So, you know, I had a highly modified car that I'm now in the process of selling, and, you know, to kind of do this. And I didn't see it when we bought the bus, but now that we have the bus and I looked at the engine bay a little bit more, there's like what looks like a chip, like, or what you'd put in if you were to chip a car, or kind of try and get more power out of it, whatever. So I have to investigate a little bit more what it is. Maybe it's just them, they had to put it in to take the governor off or something. But I gotta investigate. We may have a modified diesel. I believe it has hydraulic brakes, and air ride actually in the rear. So we were riding on air, and actually an air seat as well, which is kind of fun and was an adventure to figure out on the way back. I got rocket launched a couple times on some big bumps, but really gives that extra like riding in a bus feel. And so that is on top of the chassis is an Eldorado cab, so to speak. So the actual company that makes the shuttle cab is Eldorado, and the reason that Eldorado is different than some of the other makers is they're one of the only ones, I believe, that's been actually crash test rated or safety rated. And so the structure, it's actually supposed to have more of a structure, whereas it's not just this really empty fiberglass body. So I guess we'll come to see what that structure is like as we tear into it. So the combination of a little bit bigger chassis, not being underpowered for a shuttle bus, and it being only 30 feet end to end, gives us more headroom. That was a big thing for us.
We've tall people in our family, so
yeah.
Anyone who's gonna be on that bus, you need headroom for sure.
I just knew that a shuttle bus would give us some more, so it actually gave us a little bit more width too, I think. So it's about right at 8 feet wide on the inside, which is perfect and gives us tons of space. Also has bigger windows. We like the bigger windows.
I love the windows.
Yeah. Oh, the bus's name is
Miles.
Oh, Smiles. So this is a kind of combination.
Very random how it happened, I guess.
Reagan liked Miles. She likes it for a name anyways. So kind of weird that you were willing to give it up on the bus.
That's okay. It makes sense. Miles. It was when we were in Arizona. We were driving around, and I was just like, Miles. We're just going to be driving miles across the nation.
It makes sense. And then I was like, what about like O Smiles? You know, -O Smiles, you know. And then she's like, no. And then I was like, what about like O' Smiles? Like he's Irish or something. She's like, okay, we could do
Miles
that.
O' Smiles.
And so that's his name, is Miles O' Smiles. And, you know, it's, I think also just a reflection of like what we want the bus to be, is like hopefully a lot of happy memories and just smiling with people that we love, and a lot of people we meet too, because we know we're going to meet a ton of people along the way, and we're excited to kind of and already feel like we're a part of kind of the schoolie community, just with like people
reaching out
and it's like so it's cool to see all the people that are supporting and want to already hop on board. So you guys should hop on board too. So our timeline.
Yeah. So right now we are renting from Johnny's brother, and we moved in just in November, and are kind of subletting from the renters from before us. But we are going to re-sign the lease with him in June when it's up, and then I think the plan would then to be by the following June, so June of 2021. We will not renew the lease and we'll be living in the bus.
Yeah. So about 1.5 years is where we're at as far as timeline goes. And one thing we learned from the DIY Schoolie Guide, Jeff and Missy Miller, shout out you guys. One thing they talk about is having a timeline and trying to establish a timeline and maybe regular schedules and things like that. So now and also to give yourself a realistic expectation of time and how long it's going to take. So like having 1.5 years feels really good, and I think that's why we were okay with getting the bus a little bit earlier and taking that leap earlier, because now it gives us a little bit more time to plan and maybe not be so rushed or like be like, oh my gosh, our lease is ending and our buses can barely sleep in it or what, because you never know what the future holds. And hopefully ours holds bus life in
hopefully
1.5 years.
I think we also should say we're also very thankful for how supportive our family has been in this. I mean, it's a kind of a hard thing for some people to understand why we would want to live our lives this way, and like we totally get that. It took me a while to even like wrap my head around it. Like, could I actually live on a bus? And so our family has been very supportive, despite how confusing it may be to them. But yeah, we're very grateful to them and just how they've kind of handled the whole thing.
Yeah, it's definitely weird, like when making the phone call to your parents to be like, hey, I'm buying a bus tomorrow maybe. And part of it is also, we're able to do it thanks to my dad, and he's allowing us to keep it there right now, and I think it's going to allow us to do a lot of work there, so we're extremely thankful for that, just because that's like another weight. That's a big part of it, is having the space to do it, and because it's a big thing, and it's a thing that a lot of places wouldn't want a bunch of construction going on, whatever.
Yeah, we live in Milwaukee. There's just no way we could leave it where we live. So.
Yeah. So yeah, we're super, super thankful for them. And so calling my dad randomly and being like, hey Dad, I might bring a bus home tomorrow. Is that cool? It's kind of a weird thing. Even though we've been talking about it, I feel like they are just like people, again, we maybe didn't think it was coming so soon. Neither did we, but we're happy it has. And we're happy that this is just gonna start, hopefully, a just crazy experience and just experiences. Yeah, check us out on Instagram at milesofsmiles.bus. Well, that'll be a lot more of the day-to-day, but we plan to also make regular videos. I'm not sure how often they'll be, maybe once a week.
I think we could strive for once a week.
I think once a week's a good starting point. But Instagram will have some small videos and stuff too, so check us there. And yeah, please subscribe. We're so excited.
Yes, very excited.
And
still doesn't feel real completely.
Yeah.
I just want to spend more time when I just want to sit on the bus.
Just need to soak it in a little bit more before we start turning into it. But yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next one.